Bitcoin Liberty Live, episode 66. We're back again. Robin joins us.
66. Oh, I got to repost
in
this.
Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, and Emperor Palpatine orders execute order 66.
Huh?
You remember that?
I don't even know what you're saying. There's something about Star Wars.
You heard of Star Wars.
Anyway. I was like so distracted by trying to find us. So I could
after that intro, you kind of need a moment to like go, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, you got to just settle into that intro, I think. And, you know, let it marinate a little.
I could tone it down.
No, I like the music. You know, that the Constitution flag thing, I'm a little like, you know, maybe.
Yeah, what's our brand
get some
exactly?
Different stock images in there.
It's meandered over the years. Robin, what would say in Austria, Europe, what would the take be on a podcast that has like a big American flag in the back and the Constitution and we the people? What is all that about?
I don't know. I mean, we don't see that a lot in Austria. It's like I talked recently on a podcast with someone on that, where in America you like have very proudly your flag out and all those things. It's not that kind of thing in Austria and Germany. There are some that do it, but more like if there's like a football match involved, and then we are like putting the flag up because like we're cheering out for our. But there's this weird thing where we kind of like we don't want to be like, oh yeah, Austria, because of the history and those things. Like we don't want to shout
Austria.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't see it that much, but I see it more in America. I was like 2 times in America really briefly, and I see just the flag more in the streets, somewhere like in the cars, like just like stickers on the cars where I saw it. Also like in restaurants, sometimes it's just like hanging there. Like I've never seen that in Austria in any restaurant in all my life. So it's a very small nuanced thing. I don't know what that says about Austria, Europe, or America, but it definitely something I've noticed.
Yeah.
You don't have big lifted pickups with the American flag like waving off the back, and
that's a very Oregon thing I noticed. I don't know.
Maybe it's Oregon.
Well, no, I mean that's kind of everywhere. There's always some guy in some town somewhere. Like I was when I was last in LA last week, like there was literally a guy driving around jacked up truck rolling coal and just flying a big huge flag out the back. It's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, all right, cool. I guess you're proud to be the guy who's slowly going broke because you just bought $140,000 truck. But hey, cool, you know. So
he's fine. He fixes his own truck.
Hey man, when I worked in the prison system, I would see these guys, like these young kids would come in like 25 years old and they go, oh my God, this is the most money I've ever made. I'm going to go buy a jacked up truck. And like, it was like, oh, so you just, because I would see those same guys like that were 25-year veterans that were working like 110 hours a week so they could pay for their jacked up truck that they bought when they were 25, and they could pay for their ex-wife, and they could pay for their BMW, and they could pay for, like, these guys would just get so much debt, dude. It was just like, you guys are
I've seen many such stories myself.
Because they're not
the first time I made with my stock investments some profits, I bought a Tesla.
Nice.
I don't know if I ever told this actually on my podcast, but like that's I'm still so like I like that I made that experience because I know like, oh shit, like it was not that much money, and maybe if I make later more, then I already know it's not necessary. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I just shoot away all my money for Tesla, and I just could reinvest it in other things, or like just let it sit there and let it grow. Like it was a painful lesson.
Yeah. Well, oddly enough, there's someone else on this call who also dumped a truck ton, literal, of fiat dirty cuckbucks into a Tesla Cybertruck. Not saying who, except I drive a 2007 Toyota Prius. Just saying. I
don't drive a car right now.
Yeah. Public transport in Austria is great.
Yeah, I could have gotten a like a 2018 Model S or a 3 or something, but
you could have got like 3 Bitcoin when that thing dropped, dude. Like, but hey, whatever, you know.
Yeah. When it came out, it was like 5 Bitcoin, and now it's a Bitcoin.
Yeah. Oops.
But I drive it every day. If you've never driven a Tesla, I mean, like Robin might experience, I love it. And It's functional. Dang it. It's practical.
It looks like a Pontiac Aztec.
It'll last me. This is a car I'm going to hand off to grandkids. It's like,
yeah.
Is the robotaxi network coming to your area anytime soon?
Oh, I don't know about Fritz's. Certainly not to Fritz's area. They
Not to
can't
mine.
even get like a hardware store. So maybe my area, but this place is kind of poor, so I don't know if they'll be doing that kind of stuff either.
Because if so, I hope you got the autopilot thing, and then you can see it as an investment.
Right?
The car
Yeah,
drive
exactly.
itself.
I mean, you can totally. Here you go. I'm gonna share a picture with you guys, just so you can appreciate the beauty of the Cybertruck design.
I like it. Okay.
I love. I mean, hey man, I like, no judgment. I love the Cybertruck. Like it takes me back. It really does. Like it takes me back to
playing with Legos,
to a simpler time. Is that not going out? Come on, this is funny. That's hilarious.
See, I could have gotten a mommy soccer van. Yeah.
That was a 2005 Pontiac Aztec.
I don't have a lot of acuity in slavery to fashion. It's sort of like practicality. And
that's
yet,
not a practical vehicle. What are you talking about, man? Come on.
Well, when you talk about the Aztec, well, maybe not the Aztec either, but yes, no, the Cybertruck, you could argue aspects of practicality about it, but for what it is, it's luxury. It's just straight.
Oh, yeah. The Aztec?
Well, I don't know about the Aztec, but
I'm kidding.
What is an Aztec? Well, like
you didn't see it? Let me share.
It is the car what you just showed. That's
that
an
car I
Aztec.
just showed.
Like it's on the back.
It's funny because it's like one of the most widely panned designs in the history of American auto manufacturing. Like it's up there with a car from the 1970s called the AMC Gremlin. Like when it came out, people just like, what blind monkey designed this vehicle? Like it sold terribly. It was actually a decently I think the Aztec was a piece of junk. It was the sort of Toyota version of it. Wasn't too bad, but
or like the PT Cruiser, is that one of them that I always thought looked goofy?
Yeah. Well, some people actually like that one. The Aztec, like nobody liked. Everyone was just like, this thing looks like a trash can. Like, why did anyone make this? And so to Tesla's, at least there are some people that like the Tesla, and it's just.
Is there like how much did you pay for that Tesla? Like because there are like many different versions and levels of that.
The Bitcoin Founders series was a Bitcoin, basically.
Yeah. How many Bitcoin was it when you got it?
When I ordered it, it was at the time. So just in the price of fiat, you'd say, okay, yeah. It was 85,000 or something. So at the time when I ordered it 5-6 years ago, it was 5 Bitcoin. I ordered it like 5-6 years ago, and then it arrived a year ago.
What could you buy now for 5 Bitcoin?
Oh, like a Bitcoin.
No, what could you buy right now for 5 Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could have got maybe 5 of your Cybertrucks. What do I know? And hey, if you had taken that same 140 grand or whatever it is that truck set you back in the bottom, just when it was like 16 grand a Bitcoin, that would have been like, I don't know, 10 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
And meanwhile, my old 2002 Suzuki still runs fine.
It's an awesome car. I mean, like the body panels are falling off a little bit.
Yeah.
But you had like a better call.
Driving my Suzuki.
Yeah. Hey, let's get a Pontiac Fiero. I like it, dude. You could definitely pick up chicks with a Pontiac Fiero.
Yeah, the Fiero.
Yeah. Was a Pontiac Fiero? I don't know any of those cars that you're driving. In America,
we have some very good nugget. This thing, I don't know what the Pontiac Fiero was like. It was the Ferrari killer. It's such a goof nugget little car, dude. They're actually kind of fun to drive, but it's like a great way to get killed in a car accident. If you really wanted one. Here, let me open this image in a new tab, and then that's way too small. Come on, give me a big fat image of the Pontiac Fiero. There we go, 4K baby. So now we're talking. How great is this content, by the way, huh?
Yeah, people tune in. They're like, yeah, great.
Great car talk, jackasses.
Car talk.
Here you go. Look at the amazing Pontiac Fiero. That thing, you like one of the common injuries involved with this thing is like truck underruns, like someone's not paying attention and it just like drives right under the back of the truck in front of them. Oopsie doodle. It's yeah, they're fun.
You can also you can throw your back out when you're having sex in the back seat.
There is no back seat.
Oh.
You can throw your back out, period, just trying to stand up when you sit in the car.
Hey, Travis, you're here. Travis is at Portland is for everybody Bitcoin conference. So, geez, a week ago we were there.
All right, Travis, do you want to be on camera?
Let's see. Oh yeah. So for many years, I worked with a German guy who, when he first came to the States, a couple decades ago, what surprised him was like the patriotism. He got to America and it's like, there's just like American flags randomly big and small, big and proud and on a pole to just in a window to on somebody's mailbox, a sticker on a car. It's just like, what is with this American flag, everywhere? But, he loves America and he kind of like living in America now. He gets it.
Right.
He's
got the Hulk Hogan American flag shirt now.
Yeah.
The American flag bandana. And he's just
the power of pride right on your chest. And
yeah.
But that was the biggest adjustment, or I shouldn't say the biggest, but when he came to America, it was an adjustment to see like patriotism, just full valor, right? In in every
Well, we grew up, Robin, if you're unaware, both Fritz and I grew up in an era where they would force you to stand at attention, put your hand over your heart, and swear allegiance to the flag. So it's kind of unsurprising to me that that sort of jingoism is very common in the United States of America.
Well, if you come to a county commissioner meeting, we still.
Oh yeah, like I remember that when I first got to your area, I was just like, are we saying the pledge right now? Like I kind of launched back to high school, man. It was weird. But
I grew up with that. Yeah.
When you had to go in school, you always had to say that you sang a song or like you sang some pledge. And what did you do?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I swear to God, every day, dude. Like
I learned that in kindergarten. Kindergarten, it was kind of like, what is this? And I didn't know the words for like half a year. And I thought I knew words at times and I was just sort of saying the sounds, but for years, I think up until 8th grade, kindergarten to 8th grade, every class and every, at whatever the bell rang at 8 o'clock and every kid, you put your hand on your chest and you said the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's to the flag, as Travis says, it's not to statism. It's the people who overthrew statism.
Right. It's just the symbol of statism. That's all.
It can be.
I mean, it's kind of a trip to think about, like if you just kind of boil that down from like a, like you said, Robin, like the idea of like people like standing at attention and saluting a flag or, praying to the flag. Thing is, that wasn't even introduced until the 1950s, I guess. So that was, but if I remember correctly, it was like, to try and counter the Red Scare at the time. Like people were really scared of communists at the time. And one nation under code. I love it, Johnny. That's awesome. Yeah. I'll pledge allegiance to the Bitcoin flag. I pledge allegiance to the Bitcoin blockchain.
To the free and open source code.
Yeah, to the free and open source code. It's awesome. Yeah, man. So I don't know what's happened with Bitcoin this week. Is it still there?
Portland. Is there anything from Portland you want to share that we didn't get? I was driving.
That's right. Back. I saw you do that little like solo thing, and
that sucked.
You missed Portland, Robin. You should have come out, man.
I have to join you more on the conferences. But Portland was cool.
Yeah, it was really nice, man. It was there was a lot of really great Bitcoiners there, and we got to. I mean, I didn't get to see any of the talks except for Travis's. Travis gave a really great talk on Bitcoin security practices, and so that was pretty fun. But that was kind of like wrapping up the last day, and we were sold out. So I was like, well, I guess I can wander off and go look at this now, But yeah, Portland was great, man. There's just so many really cool Bitcoiners, and you know how it is at these conferences. Like the vibe is always great, right? Like there's always people that are coming around and they're interested and they're learning, or they're already deep into it, or and so you get this great spectrum of people, and they're just fun conversations, and it's nice to be around like-minded people, and so it just as a vibe, like Portland was great.
Yeah.
And Portland has actually cleaned up a lot, like since I was last there, and which is probably shocking to say to the people that live there, because if you ever saw Portland, it's sort of can be a little bit of messy, but
well, you stayed on the east side of the Willamette, and downtown. I was at the Hilton Embassy right downtown, and it was a block or two away from, some of the core of the challenges going on with the Portland Rescue Mission and who knows what. But that was a little busy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You didn't want to park on the street. But.
Yeah. Which is sort of sad to say, like, while we kind of look around, like, I'll tell you, next year, if we all go to Austria before Prague or whatever, like, your socks are going to be blown off when you see how just amazing Austria is, dude. Like, you just go like, why is it so nice? Like, why is everything so perfect? Like, I mean, the only thing that sort of surprised me was there's like a lot of like graffiti, but it wasn't like gang graffiti. It was just sort of like, I don't even know what the thing is behind that. What is that, Robin? Like
I think a lot of like it's less dangerous people and more like alternative people. That just like have their political views, or sometimes also it's just creative thinking. Just they wanna have their art there. There's also some kind of, how should I say, indirect. I mean, it's probably all around the world. It's probably not an Austrian thing, but there's some competition going on where you want to have this nice piece of art on that wall, and then you see that what you made anonymous on the internet because someone made a photo of it and like found it really nice and all those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think also the police is not really cracking down on it. Like they are like. They care if it's on the wrong spot, like if it's on like a massive church that's really important, or if it's on the train itself, then the train people they freak out. But if it's like in a tunnel or like somewhere where it's not that important, like they all do it. I found something that might be actually interesting to talk about that, because I literally talked about that like 2 days ago on the podcast that I did not know, that kind of opened my eyes to El Salvador, because Nayib Bukele extended now his terms, and he can now like indefinitely be running and all those things. Where I'm like, oh shit, that's an interesting topic for Bitcoiners, because he's kind of like the Bitcoin guy for the nation state adoption, but then also like, what's going on with his politics. And I don't know, I get more and more weary of this guy. I don't know if you've followed that news.
Yeah, what do you think, Fritz?
I'm not familiar with it.
You didn't see, like, it was all over Bitcoin Twitter. I know you've been super busy lately, but there's a bunch of people talking about it, like, and immediately like the people that don't like Bukele came out as like, oh, see, he's a dictator, blah, but ages back, I asked Grok, I think, I was like, hey, just given what you know about this guy so far, what likelihood would you assign that this guy relinquishes power? He goes, probably 40%. I was just like, oh, damn, really? Like, and that's the robot, right? Like, the robot doesn't have a dog in the fight. It's just kind of like, I'm a robot, beep, boop, But then, sure enough, like the Salvadoran Congress came out and was like, yeah, like, we can just reelect the president forever. And you go, oh, well, that's never happened in Central or South America before. So I wonder where that goes. Now, given like the history of the country and where it's been in like the global political economy and what influence the US has had down there, which was a very, very grotesque influence. I mean, they were like supporting torture gangs and like murder squads, and like it was horrible, dude. And that was directly under like CIA dictates, right?
Yeah,
and
then
the CIA
was all over countries down there.
Yeah, well, it was El Salvador in particular, right? And so when all that dried up, then they came in and then they just stomped them into the dust with the IMF, right? And caused the Latin American debt crisis, which lasts for like a complete lost decade for the entire region. So right after that, then we started exporting gangsters to them and go, hey, we created this MS-13 thing. Here, you can have that back, you know? So like the United States has absolutely just bent that country over and just hollowed it out. While, so when people kind of come in and criticize the guy, I'm like, well, how would you fix it? Right? Like, do you just wait for the next US led guy or Chinese led guy or whatever, you know, Zimbabwean backed guy, or who else are you going to let come in there and wreck your country again? Like, you know, especially after you work so hard to get it fixed or at least on the right path. So I don't know, man. Like, I mean, what would you do, Robin? Like, you're king of El Salvador for a day. Like, do you go, well, I'm just going to give up the reins because that's what all the people that destroyed my country want me to do? You go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, you guys can GFY, you know, like you guys are talking to us about democratic norms and this and that and the other thing. Meanwhile, you guys came in here and gave us murder squads and MS-13 and you destroyed our country. So why should I trust what you say? Why should I care about any of the like rights of the people that were going around decapitating people and leaving it in Times Squares and stuff like that, and kidnapping people and raping and murdering and robbing? It's like, I don't know. So I'm sort of on the fence because I still have that libertarian, like, well, there should be free and open elections and yada, yada, yada. But I also understand power structures, and you go, well, that power structure is fragile and the peace they've created is fragile. And you certainly want to maintain order and peace, is, you know, and if that means we get, you know, dictator Bukele for the next 20 or 30 years, you go, cool. I hope he stays benign, but you never know. Right. So
it's an interesting one because like I see a lot of like I feel when you have extreme situation, you should have extreme you can act in a very different way, and leading El Salvador is very different to leading the US or like a European country, because like it's a whole different situation, especially if you have the murder capital of the world. You have to do a lot of different things, and the thing that he did with the prisons and early on, like I'm not following it very closely. I was just once in El Salvador. It is something where I think it's fine. Like you have to go in hard to actually filter out those things if you really want to fix it. But then also is the thing of like, what is that still a Bitcoin country? If with the IMF deal and the Bitcoin adoption is not there where it really is sometimes advertised at. Like I was there outside of the Bitcoin venues. I could never really buy anything with Bitcoin. I really, and this is always what I really want to say is like no matter what Bukele does, it doesn't take away from what Bitcoin Beach is doing and what Berlin is doing, because they're doing really great. What should I say? They're doing really great grassroots movement. At the same time, I'm just careful. Like I wouldn't move there right now. Like I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, like I'm fully like I would like to be there. But overall, the country got just way better. You know, like it's just like undeniably a better country right now. But I'm just like a little bit more careful about Nayib. Like I was a fan of him like a lot in like 2 or 3 years ago. Now I'm like, I don't know. And then because I don't know if I think Travis brought it up, the approval rates. It's always a little bit weird when I see really high approval rates, because when we think about who has high approval rates, usually dictators. There's usually this like high approval rates usually are connected with dictatorships. But he is popular. Like he is. I was in El Salvador. I talked with all the Uber drivers when I was there, and talked with the local store owners, and he actually is popular. Like his approval rates, I don't think are like skewed towards. It's just like I wouldn't use that argument, because like, it's usually the argument that dictators use.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Travis brought up a bunch of good points here, but Bitcoin Liberty Live says Bukele remains awesome.
I like him. I think there's many reasons to respect him and love him. I think so. Like, you know, when America won its independence and won the War of Independence, and George Washington served 2 terms and then set a precedent of Like everybody was like, stay, 99% approval rating. And he stepped down, but he had good, strong people to pass the reins to. And also he didn't have the CIA never sleeping at your doorstep, or the IMF trying to wrangle you, or gang simmering. And basically the men at that time were men, and the women at that time were probably more manly than any man we have today. And so it's like culturally, it's like we were okay. Bukele, I think if you're grappling with so many issues, I can see all the incentives to be like, we need to keep this fixed so that they don't just wait us out and plant their corporate guy. Right. So I'm trying not to judge it, but it could be a slippery slope.
There's also a good point from Travis, the buying Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin a day, where El Salvador Bukele had always this public address, and we always knew like that's probably not all the Bitcoin they have. That's just like one wallet they have. Like, why would they just give away all the Bitcoin they have? Right. And now the IMF, and I don't want to say we should trust the IMF at all, right. But the IMF came out and said like, hey, they are not buying Bitcoin. They're just moving from an unknown wallet to a known wallet, the Bitcoin, basically like making an appearance that they still buy, even though they apparently don't buy since February. And I think there came some financial minister or something from a higher up financial government official from El Salvador up and said, oh yeah, like we're not buying since February. So I don't know, maybe they're still buying and just not telling the IMF. Like maybe they says like, oh yeah, we're not buying, but like still buying Bitcoin. Yeah. But anyways, the publicly known Bitcoin that they have still increase, so that's still a win for me. Like if they are from past buys or from current buys, like I don't know, I don't care. And in general, I'm not a fan of governments buying Bitcoin. I want individuals to buy Bitcoin and not governments.
Yeah. At least they're putting it in a pot where it's like, okay, well, here's our reserve. We're adding to our reserve. It came from other money or other Bitcoin or whatever, but hey, at least it's in the reserve pot.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, well, like what you guys are saying, I agree with. Like it's kind of hard to say, right? Like you look and you go, well, like the slippery slope thing, like that gets brought up a lot. Like, as a criticism, you go, well, today he's the benevolent, dictator vibes, like Travis says, and then tomorrow he's like, Pinochet or whatever. So you go, well, where does it go? And the thing is he's still human, right? I think. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's like an alien from El Salvador, Mars, or whatever. But the trouble with being in any sort of power position like that is you tend to start getting filtered for your information. And like I used to see it a lot in Hollywood, right? Like we'd get these actors who come in and stuff. And the thing is there's actually a comedian, some female comedian, I can't remember her name, but she ended up on a TV show, and she said it was kind of a trip because I went from someone who had to be polite in order to get by to someone that could just say what I thought, right? And she had enough power and influence that no one could check her. So the trouble with that is it's empowering to begin with. You go, hey, well, I don't like this, stop it, or I'm not doing that, go GFY or whatever. Like having that FU money is kind of nice, right? But it can also lead you down the path. I don't know if you guys remember that Charlie Sheen video where he was sitting there talking about like tiger blood and all this crazy. I mean, he sounded like an absolute lunatic.
Invincible.
But that's the problem with being embroiled in like this world where no one says no to you and everyone just kisses your ass because no one checks your stupid ideas, right? So you can end up like convincing yourself over a long enough time horizon where you just think like the gibberish that's coming out of your mouth makes sense to everybody. And everyone just goes, yeah, Charlie, tiger blood, And like there's a filmmaker, the guy that did Clerks, I can't remember his name. He did a music video for Prince, and Prince was like in the same boat, right? Like he said, like at one point, Prince like walked down at 4:00 in the morning, or he was like rolling cameras, and he said the camera's out of film. And all the assistants came over and said, like, just act like they're still running. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not shooting anything. He goes, yeah, we don't want to let Prince know that. You have to understand Prince has been living in Prince land for a long time. And he'll come down and say stuff like at 4:00 in the morning, like, I really want a polar bear. Give me a polar bear right now. And there's no way to convince him that that's not a great idea, nor is it feasible, nor they just want to, all he wants to hear is like, yeah, we'll get you your polar bear right away. Right. And then they just hope he drifts off to something else before they have to explain why the polar bear isn't there yet. But, so you can end up being kind of a lunatic. And I think there's a risk to Bekele on some level of he can get to a place where, because all this adulation and praise and people loving you and everything, like it can get to your head. Right. And before he's aware of it, he can get checked or not checked. And then he ends up being like a lunatic, So it's like that old saying, power corrupts, all power, absolute power corrupts absolutely kind of thing. And so you kind of go, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, he's still human, and just who knows? He's great now, and in 10 years, it's like, oh, he's not leaving, or he's become whatever. Johnny knows from Hollywood too, I'm sure. I think it's also a reminder, a good advice for all of us Bitcoiners. In 10 years, we all better stay humble, because we're susceptible to the tiger blood, right? We're gonna be like, yep, been a Bitcoiner since 2025.
Maybe.
So stay humble.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote about that once. I don't think Bitcoiners will be celebrated. I think that early Bitcoiners will be looked like people will be like, oh yeah, you are just lucky. Like, why didn't you not buy from me? Like, why didn't you do more to convince me of that? Like, if Bitcoin is, let's say, in 2040 at 10 million, 50 million, whatever, and your whole family didn't buy except you, first of all, like, what did you do? Like, why did you should try to convince them as good as possible, but sometimes it's not possible. I don't think they will cheer you on like God. I think they will envy you. I think they will say that you're lucky and all those things. And I don't know. Sometimes and you see it now already with OG Bitcoiners. I've talked with many with the podcast, but also outside of the podcast, that have Bitcoin since over 10 years or are in Bitcoin since over 10 years. Yeah. They are no gods in real life.
Right. Yeah.
They're more likely to hide because they are afraid to, if someone comes up and just like asks them, oh, like, can you lend me some money? Like, oh, I have an interesting idea. You want to invest? Like all those things. So I don't know if the Bitcoin is the same thing happens as the Hollywood,
like the celebrity. Yeah.
I saw an interesting tweet where, first for years and years and years, as you've been talking about it, you get excited and then you back off, and you're talking to family, and it's just a majority of the response is kind of like, okay, honey, to, oh yeah, sure, this and that, or or like, you're still doing that. And you kind of go through all this for years and years, and a lot of it's polite, sometimes it's not. And that years from now, it, like, the best you might get out of people is like, well, you got lucky, when the whole time you're like, I was telling you, I was open, I was happy to share it with you, and you fudded me the whole time.
Hey, what's up, Travis?
There's Hola. Travis. Hello.
Have you met Robin yet? Portland?
I've heard of Robin.
Oh yeah,
there he is, Robin. Travis West, Robin.
Oh man, my mic is muted. Sorry. Hi, Travis. How are you doing?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Travis joined us up in Portland. It was fun, man. It was really cool.
Travis,
margaritas. Used some dirty fiat to buy him some margaritas. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
How'd you feel about your talk?
It was fun. It went by really fast. You had good questions, good engagement, a lot of people. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
I thought people were interested, and what's telling is, when people stay afterwards, and there's like, if there's no questions and people are like, polite clap, it's like, well, okay. But there were a lot of questions and a good range of questions. I thought it was good. A lot of interest.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think of this Bekele thing, man? Like, chime in, dude.
You've been to El Salvador.
Yeah. You're friends with Bekele, right?
Yeah. I didn't get to meet Bekele, but I mean, he seems cool, right? He seems based. He's my age, so he's accomplished a little bit more than me. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, like Alex Gladstein. I don't know how he pronounces
I don't know how to
Gladstein,
pronounce that either.
with HRF. He's skeptical, right? So, and Alex seems like a smart guy. So I don't know. I'm open-minded. We'll see.
On the topic of Alex Gladstein, just as an aside, a huge thank you to Mr. Gladstein. He retweeted a MicroSeed post today, so it was a huge blessing. I'm a huge fan of the guy. I subscribe to the Human Rights Foundation newsletter, and I love the work they do. And he's obviously, I think he's a very brilliant thinker. So, but yeah, just thank you in general. I know he's probably not going to see this, but that was a kind of a nice boost for the old MicroSeed. So
Yeah,
really appreciate it. And we're all about helping human rights, man.
yeah.
Hide that
What I like
Bitcoin.
about him with Alex, it's definitely when you think of based, it's not just based like certain principles. It's empathetic human rights. Like how are people in Africa coming out of their situation? How are people, like we talked about, South America, across the world? They are all just hugely burdened by their governmental fiat garbage and socioeconomic condition and poverty, or whatever. And just so like he'll share these videos and have these talks about small miners at a water source in Africa where they can spin on the side, and to them, even if they just join a pool and they get a little bit, to them that's a lot.
Huge. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know, man. Well, I think Bukele, I don't know, I'll give him 60% to not become an evil dictator, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, like I always, because I had some even German friends that moved down there in the last couple of years, and I was always, because people said like, "Oh, you're a Bitcoin podcaster, so you have to move to El Salvador," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like if I have to move there, and I want to see that project going long term. Like we have seen now." 4 or 5 years of Nayib Bukele and Bitcoin, and if it's really true and if it holds long term, like 10, 15, 20 years, and the country is just going up and up and up and everything is just crashing, like it's just great, yeah, maybe I move there, but not yet. Like that, it's just I don't want to move up in a startup government where I don't know for sure if the leader is a dictator or not. Like if that's a question that's debatable, I don't want to be there. I mean, you can see the same thing about the EU, but that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
My wife sent me a link to a house for sale right near the beach. It was like decent, not a modest house, but you'd look at it and think, well, yeah, we could live there. And it was like $200,000, I think. And I was like, damn, a house near the beach. And I looked at it. It's like getting there. Like, so for example, if you flew in, it's a couple hour drive to the border near Guatemala, I think. And yes, it's near the beach. It's in a nice little town. But then it was like, okay, she was kind of like, what would you think? I mean, just sort of imagine. And I'm like, in another world, up and coming in my life, I could live there, but I know that if my wife is stranded, an hour drive or 2 hour drive away from like where's the closest, farmer's market, Walmart thing, I guess. I don't know. She doesn't handle the rural life the same, I don't think. So it would be rural.
I haven't seen Travis's talk. What did he talk about in Portland? Like what was kind of the topic there?
I talked about security tips every Bitcoiner should know.
I love it.
Yeah, expand on that, man. Come on.
And it was basic information. Like OG Bitcoiners probably they probably heard everything that I mentioned, right? But a lot of times you might be an OG Bitcoiner, but you just don't practice like good security, even though you're well aware of it. And I do that too, in a sense, with like firearm ownership. Like I know that I should probably have my firearms locked away so my kids can't get into it. But at the same time, I have weapons all around me. So it's like, you accept some risk, even if you're aware of it. And, but yeah, it was good stuff. I heard you guys talking about Austria earlier. I'm assuming
Yeah.
You're from Austria, right?
I'm from Austria.
Yeah, he's the chief Austrian.
I
I'm
was
from Austria.
I was there once. I was in Salzburg, a young handsome man, and a long time ago, and I was sitting along a river on a bench, just minding my own business, and it was beautiful space, beautiful country, very clean. I really liked it. And this old little Austrian lady comes walking over to me, and she sits next to me on the bench, and she's probably 150 years old. I don't know. She's been there for a while, and we're just staring at the river together. And then she looks over at me and she says in German about how isn't the river so beautiful? And I said, yeah. And then I wait a little bit, and then I look at her and I say, in rough German, I said, my German's not very good. And then she looked so disappointed. And then without any other words, she just got up and left. That's my memory of Austria. Because I look like I was local, right?
Yeah.
But once they spoke, she's just like,
You foreigner.
God damn
It
America.
could have been a very romantic story.
it could have been.
That's when I took her hand and no.
And just gently caressed her 150-year-old skin. Paper
It's
thin
okay,
skin.
No, she was
Fraulein.
sweet. She was sweet. I
Yeah.
miss her.
Did
I
you
don't know,
like your time while you were there?
What was that?
You liked your time while you were there?
Yeah, it was great. Actually, I was in Germany and Austria and the Netherlands. And Austria was my favorite.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So beautiful. I mean, just absolutely
Yeah.
stunning beauty. And I only saw the city. Like, everyone that I was talking to was like, oh, you got to get out of the city, man. It's like, this is all just urban here. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a beautiful city. Like, this is amazing,
Yeah.
man. Like, are you kidding? I love this place. Like, this is like a fairy tale kingdom to me. And like, yeah, once you get out in the mountains, and, like one of the guys I played golf with in Austria was, he's like a Chinese immigrant, I think. Like, he was an engineer or something like that. But, yeah, but he's like, yeah, once you get in those golf courses up in the mountains, it's like you've got these huge vistas and these amazing trees and these snow-capped peaks in the background, even in the summertime, and you're just playing like in literal paradise, and you're just whacking a golf ball around. So I was just like, I have to go see this, So yeah, I'm really looking forward to my next trip to Austria, man. That was yeah, like it's easily one of my favorite countries I've visited so far. So
One thing I took out of your talk, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most of the problems people have with Bitcoin security and crypto in general, or probably everything, and especially older folks, is just the social scam, the phishing, the spear phishing, the pig butchering, the honeypot type stuff, where they just socially work you. And you think, well, if this was a scam, they wouldn't be talking to me for a month, or they're my friend. Hey, I've got a girlfriend. Where's this girlfriend? You ever met her? Yeah. I've had video chats. We have a long relationship. And oh, she's an investor. She's rich. She has a rich uncle. She buys and sells gold futures. And I put $100 in there and I made like $1,000.
wow.
And then they just got hooked in, so that was my impression.
That was very detailed. You had some experience.
I know an older person now who doesn't believe he's not being scammed. And I've seen it elsewhere. And in the course of like learning about these situations, I've read a lot about it, particularly the pig butchering scam. And Travis mentioned too, it involves weird stuff like human trafficking. I mean, people crossing borders and escaping, and they get hooked up into a job, and then they can't leave, and they're in a social scam farm, and they can't leave. It's creepy. But anyway,
there's one scam going around on Telegram where girls writing you, and they're doing it really good. They really play along a game, so it's not like a quick scam where like within the day, they as you explained it, they're trying to do it over months and months of time, just first building a relationship and then slowly getting off after that. I had someone that sent me a bunch of screenshots. I'm like, oh yeah, that shit gets sophisticated. Like that's proper social engineering, and yeah, that's crazy. I already have like 5 or 6 of them, like the beginning of those, and they always start the same way. They say something like, hey, aren't you? And then just some random name, and then you reply, oh no, I'm like actually like Robin, and like, oh, and then all of a sudden it starts. And there's a lot of those. I got I think 5 of them already, so be aware.
Oh yeah. Well, the funny thing is like even people that are sophisticated still sometimes fall victim to this stuff, right? And there was a guy, he was a guy that was going around on YouTube and like actually like backwards engineering the little like the local terminal takeover thing that like the Indian scammers do and stuff. And so he would end up like taking over their cameras and he'd be like watching them and be talking to them and go, hey, aren't you this person? Aren't you holding a coffee cup right now? And they'd just be like, oh my God, what's, but he got rung up, dude. He like clicked a bad link and ended up, he was like, I can't believe it. I fell for this, and all it takes is just that moment. Like I got an email from our website hoster, it was allegedly from the website hoster, and it was like something about the password. And I was like, oh God, what is this about? And I started clicking. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, so it's all it takes is just like a moment of, inattention and just a little bit of like vulnerability, and you can get tripped up by this stuff. But like to all those guys that get pig butchered and fall for the like the text that Robin was just talking about, like, oh okay, no, it's not me, it's you're looking, I'm Tom, right? They go, oh hi Tom, and here's a picture of me when my sitting on my Ferrari and my big boobs, and it's like, oh wow, big boob girl wants to talk to me now, this is cool.
They're always hot Asian women.
Right, yeah, always. I have so many amazingly beautiful women that want to talk to me on Twitter. It's kind of cool. It's probably because I'm a good-looking guy,
Yeah.
But the thing that I was going to say is that, like if you've ever been dumped or broken up with or gone through a divorce or something like that, like on the tail end of that, you can be very emotionally compromised, right? And you can be doing a lot of really dumb things that in the moment seem like a really great idea, right? You're just like, I know, I'm going to go and put a boombox over my head and sing in front of my ex-girlfriend's house and try and win her heart back. Meanwhile, she's like already dating a new guy and he's inside the house with her. And it's like, you're just making a fool of yourself, right? But in that moment, it's very easy to go, this is it. This is the thing I have to do this right now because this makes perfect sense to me. 6 months later, you look back and go, oh my God, I can't believe I actually went to my girlfriend's house wearing a suit and put a boombox over my head and tried to win her back. Like, how foolish of me. Or, like you're throwing bricks through people's windows, or you're breaking their stuff or setting fire to their car, or like people just do crazy shit, right? But in the moment, it feels like a very logical thing to be doing because that's how emotionally compromised you are. So if you're the guy who's going through a divorce and you're having trouble at work, stress, and all of a sudden you just kind of fall for this little thing, it's not a long windy path to get to the place where you're like, no, I got a girlfriend, dude, and she loves me, and she's this really successful person. And, like you can start convincing yourself more out of like heartbreak or sadness or depression or any number of other things. But, but once you're compromised like that emotionally, it's really, really difficult to see like what the real reality is. Like everyone around you can see it. Like, your friends are like, dude, that is a scam. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no 26-year-old super hot, supermodel from Thailand that just absolutely loves you and she's also super rich. Like that's just not a thing, dude. No, but it's obvious, and it'll become obvious to that person after they get wrecked, unfortunately. So my thing is always just like try not to judge folks for that, and also be very aware like that we're all vulnerable to it. Like the second you say that would never happen to me is the second you make yourself very vulnerable to some pretty obvious scams just because you can get compromised like that,
And they're super clever. And like, we had just, what was it, 2 months ago, where Larry Lepar, Lynn Alden, and some other bigger ones fell for a very simple one, where they basically, you got invited to a podcast or some like Bloomberg thing recording. And in Larry's case, like this was the time where his book came out. So he got like interviews like 5 times a day. And it was routine for him to like, I got an invite, I got a calendar link, I booked the calendar link, then I get the invite, and like then it's going on. Like that's how I book guests. That's how everyone books guests, with those calendar links. And they just knew that, and they put a calendar link that looks like a normal calendar link, and then it opens up an application that looks like Google Calendar asks you for the Twitter permissions, which is a little bit weird. Like, why does Google Calendar need my Twitter permissions? But it's Google Calendar, a trusted brand. But it's not actually Google Calendar. It's like their application. Then you like authorize, and then they can send tweets. And all of a sudden, like Larry's page got like all those shit coins, and then the thing happened where they kind of scammed with other shit coins, and then his account got banned. So it's not like, it's not stupid people that fall for that. Larry is he is a smart guy. The people that scam people, they actually put in thought. It's not like everyone can fall for that. Like, there's no one that cannot fall for that.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Love
Justin's on. Yeah, Justin says he got a fully verified email past SMTP checks from PayPal. Had call a 800 number to stop a $900 payment. Yeah, I know Travis will play with them. You mentioned you get those calls or texts or whatever, and you know what's going on, and so you play with them, right?
Yeah, it's kind of fun to troll people. I do get those Telegram messages that Robin was talking about. I get those as well, and I will totally mess with them and send pictures of like old dudes, like this is me, I'm lonely, and I just run with them. But it's like research. I see it as research. I'm learning. I'm seeing what they're using on real victims, right, and the images they're using, and kind of like their modus operandi, right?
Yeah. Well, like what Love Baja just said, I'm really scared because I just, especially after a big transaction or stuff like that, like that can be a huge moment of vulnerability, and with, block confirmations and things like that, like if it's a well-timed attack and from a sophisticated attacker, like they can just look and go, oh, this wallet initiated a transaction. I've been following this wallet for a while. And then they just call them and go, hey, there's a problem with your transaction. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is all contemporaneous. It's all happening right now. Oh, I should probably, and then all of a sudden, like the fear and everything else starts kicking in and you just start making dumb decisions, So it's like the best thing you can do with any of this stuff is just pump the brakes, right? But as Travis pointed out in his talk, like you need to call law enforcement if you actually did get scammed or something like that. So there's that weird little area of like, well, should I call the cops? Is this a real thing? Should I worry about this? What's going on here? But what was your advice, Travis? Just like hang up, right? I mean, just like call your stranger, call whoever.
Yeah, as soon as what I see a lot is someone will think they're being scammed, or they'll realize they're being scammed, but they won't realize how big of a scam it is. So, for example, they might be interacting with a fake trading platform, and so they realize that is a scam, but they don't realize that the pretty lady that's referred it in the first place and helping you along is also part of the scam. So they don't realize like all the people around them, and then like the recovery firm or some other group of investors that's also helping you is also part of the scam, right? So they still have like this naive trust with some of the scammers. So what I usually recommend is just don't talk with anyone. Just go to law enforcement and cross your fingers that they know what to do, or at least are skeptical and can like sift through stuff with you. Unfortunately, a lot of times law enforcement won't really be able to help them. They'll at least be able to say, yeah, this is a scam. Like, you lost money. Sorry. A lot of times they won't do anything about it. And sometimes that's like they don't know what to do, which happens a lot. And that's a huge problem because there is an element of pride there with a lot of them where, they've been a detective for 5 years and they don't know what to do. So they're just not going to do anything, but they're not going to like admit that, right?
Right.
If they're not going to like admit to these embarrassing realizations. Sometimes they do. Sometimes like, I have no idea about crypto and I don't know what to do. But, and then sometimes there's elements where it's just not worth it. Like they could probably figure out who the scammer is and it's just not worth the money and the time to them. Right. Yeah. Like they're triaging other cases. So if you lost $30,000 and they're going to have to do like 3 warrants and 6 subpoenas to figure out who did it, that's probably not worth their time because it is, that agency's paying money for all that stuff. Right. And there's a district attorney's office and judges that are vetting this stuff, signing off on things. And there's a lot, if you start thinking about all the resources, the public resources that are spent to track down who stole your 30 grand or whatever. So it's kind of like this balancing act, like how far do they go?
Right.
And there is, and I'm I will tell you that a lot of the officers and detectives are thinking, man, you're an idiot. You are such a fool for falling for this.
Yeah.
Like when you write it all out and you realize what they did, what they fell for, it is hard to not think that. Be like, man, you were, and you know, a lot of times the victims realize that too, you know, in hindsight, right? But so there is that plays into it too. It's just kind of like, why would I put all this work and all this time into trying to track down? Like you threw your money away. Like you were so reckless, so greedy, so naive. Like that is the thoughts going through those guys' minds. Like I used to be one of those investigators, so I'm telling you, like that, they definitely think that, and they're not necessarily wrong. Like you can still have empathy for them and feel bad for them. But
I've seen you do that work.
I've seen people fall for the stupidest stuff, and sometimes it is sophisticated, right? Like sometimes you're like, oh, that was clever.
Right.
But
and it is a lot of work to track down or learn how to do that, or the warrants involved, or interacting with the companies. And it's kind of like, okay, how much is this really? It's less than 100,000. You know, I don't know. There's other stuff going on. Like people are like physically hurt that I'm looking at too. So it's work.
Yeah.
And then there's something about, and I'm not going to say, oh, it's boomers or whatever. Justin shares a good story about his own dad here. I get this same thing, Justin, where.
Oh, that's Justin? How did I not know this?
Yeah.
It's the username threw me off. Hi, Justin.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. That's always good to see you, sir.
So I'll do IT support work, computer help for an older guy. And whether it's age or technology familiarity or something, like I just have these normal, I think it's like common sense instincts about emails or spam or phishing stuff. And I glance at it. I'm like, yeah, that's a scam. He'll forward me an email repeatedly, different emails. Like, is this a scam? Is this a scam? And I'm like, yes, you know, hang up, delete, whatever. If you have a question, if you actually have this account, contact that company yourself or check your account, or like you can see your own bills. Right. So anyway, I just hope that as I get older, I don't get like loopy, but I guess maybe we're destined for that. Another story I have about, older fella I know, he literally believes he's in the process of dating maybe 5 different hot Asian chicks who he's never met.
It could happen.
I mean, yeah. Hey, if you're in your 80s, 20-year-old Asian women just come out of the, out from under the rug.
Happens for me all the time, dude. Like I said, I'm popular on Twitter, man. These chicks love me.
Yeah, and so for a month or even like months, they will butter him up and tell all about their stories, and these are, you'd say, smart people, retired from being like an engineer, retired from being a longtime educator, professional, educated people, and they can't decipher like reality, common sense stuff like that. I think is kind of normal, but believing in stuff. And then also, once you've been wrecked, there's kind of that pride where I don't want to tell people. 2, I'm wrecked. You're desperate. And then here comes, like Travis said, here comes maybe the recovery service firm. Oh, hey, yeah, no, we can help you out. This older guy I know was in that situation and was trying to work it out. Like, oh yeah, no, he'd admitted to me that he'd lost a little chunk of money on a gold futures thing, which was one of these fake online apps that like shows you numbers and you can like put money on there and it looks like numbers, but it's all faked. And it matches an app that, like, I guess you'd say is legitimate, but it's like a pseudo, a cloned app. And so he was in the process of trying to get recovery, and that recovery was just a scam to get. Oh yeah, it'll cost so much money to get it back because we have to pay tariffs or something. Anyway, if you notice, tariffs have gone up. Tariffs on Bitcoin have like doubled now.
I will say, usually I still recommend reporting to law enforcement because sometimes that's what it takes to get like a victim to realize that they're involved in a scam.
Yeah.
But also, it's not unheard of to like actually, find the suspect, get justice, trace the funds, seize the funds. Like that's not unheard of. It's not as likely, but you might as well try.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Give them a shot.
Hey, Robin, I mean, you've talked to like 14 bajillion Bitcoiners, man. Have you ever met one that got wrecked? Like, has anyone told you any like crazy stories about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like Rick, we know both.
Oh God, Rick. Yeah. I mean, if you're not aware of his story, like I'll let Robin tell it, but
yeah, like Rick is, I think he was the 5th or 10th podcast. Like he was very early on, definitely in the first 20 episodes. And he kind of told the story how he lost 25 Bitcoins. And that was because it has nothing to do with a social engineering scam, and he had self-custody, but it's a long time ago, but as I remember it, I think he had a cloud backup of some sort on his dad's computer, and there was some sort of leak, but I know for sure that they haven't figured out 100% what was the reason, but they had self-custody. They were savvy in computer technology, but they just had some kind of mistake in there. So it was a really interesting one because we made that episode with Rick and with Tony, basically saying the emotional side of Rick plus the analyst side with Tony, and going through there. I think I have never got so many DMs and messages from people like, oh shit, like I really thought through my self-custody setup again because of that one podcast, because it kind of woke people up how many vulnerabilities a setup can have. And we played through all the possibilities, what could have gone wrong and what could have been the leak in the setup. And people are like, oh shit, that's also me. Oh shit, I also have that leak. Oh shit, that also me. So I've heard a lot of crazy story. I'm careful because there's so many now. Like sometimes you also wonder, like, are they all true? Are they just trying to now get donations? Like I'm just also like I'm trying to verify those stories before I really amplify them. But there are 100% so many Bitcoiners have lost Bitcoin along the way. There are a lot of them, and they are also smart Bitcoiners. There are also Bitcoiners that have self-custody, but they had made some mistakes along the way, because if you don't make mistakes, it's hard to lose your Bitcoin if you really follow the sound principles. So at some point it's the old saying of like, with great power comes great responsibility, and I think it's a good thing. There are more and more people that say like, oh yeah, I don't like the self-custody thing because like I don't trust myself, basically.
Right.
I don't know. I rather trust myself and rather have the responsibility than trusting someone else. And you still can get scammed.
Right.
Like a bank account is not as safe as self-custody. I'm just leaving it at that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Right.
Well, I remember when Rick came out with that story, like there's all kinds of people jumped all over that guy thinking, oh, whatever, scammer, you're just looking for donations. And I remember I saw him in BTC Prague. I kind of heard his story on Twitter, and I was sort of like, whatever, I don't know, some dude, some doofus. But when I saw him speak in Prague that first time I went, like he was just like this really humble guy. But he came out and was like saying, hey, man, this happened to me, and this is what we were doing. One of the things he said in Prague was like they were using a low entropy password manager. Dad was, like a 4-digit code to get into your password manager, and then all the secret keys were right inside there. So to brute force that thing was like a trivial matter. I mean, you can do that like with almost nothing nowadays, right? Like I think a phone could brute force that with modern compute. So that was they somehow ended up with an installer or something, ended up on their box that brute forced that word and then sent it to the people, and then the people drained them, and that was it, right? And that's all it took. And had they just had like a complex password, like a 16 or 20 character, 24 character password, probably would have dodged that bullet, And so it's a hugely expensive lesson for him to learn, but he was also like an OG Bitcoiner. Like he's been around since like 2013 or something, right? So it's not like he didn't understand this stuff. It's not like he didn't have deep knowledge and understanding of it. But I think the biggest point he made that really always stuck with me is like, you can't get complacent, because it's really, really easy to get complacent. And like when I was working in the prison service, complacency was everywhere, and people let things slide and let things get around and just try and do things for convenience. And it's all fun and games until someone gets killed or injured or something really bad, or you lose a ton of Bitcoin or something like that. But you want to try and avoid that wake up call if you can, right? So, the thing we always stress with the MicroSeed is like, you got to test your stuff. You got to make sure you still have access to it. You got to make sure that you remember how to do all this stuff. And you have to kind of continually be vigilant. Like you can't just like sit and just go, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Cause it's all fine until it's not, you know? So there's a million ways to lose it. But it's very simple things to keep it. Right. And it's just make sure you back up your seed phrase, make sure it's hidden somewhere safe, make sure you have access to your stuff, make sure you protect it against like wrench attacks, make sure you protect it against, you know, fire and flood, and just make sure you're not storing things digitally and, you know, using password managers to store your seed phrase or cloud accounts or taking pictures of your seed phrase or whatever. I mean, it can be relatively simple. And I think for most people that aren't facing like nation state actors, like, you know, keeping it simple, like get yourself a cold card, set up your wallet, you know, back up your seed phrase, and then just kind of kick back and enjoy it. Make sure you have a watch wallet so you can see what's there. And, you know, but if you're not transacting all the time, and then keep some on a Lightning wallet, you know, if you want to transact in Bitcoin, you want to spend Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff, send it around on Lightning and just make sure there's not enough there that you're going to get wrecked, you know? So that's kind of my takeaway from Rick's thing. Like, I think he's a great guy, and I'm really sort of impressed with what he said at the time and what he's continued to do since, helping people kind of make sure they stay safe from what happened to him.
Yeah, and it takes courage to tell that story.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah, I think was it Paula's podcast a week ago? She had Jimmy and his wife on. That's an emotional story. Now, granted, you could say, well, that was a really dumb thing he did. But
Jimmy,
in the Bitcoin army, there was a lot of scuttle. I don't know, over the past month or so. This guy, Jimmy, I think they might have lost 5 or 7 Bitcoin.
I think it's 7 Bitcoin. Yeah.
Ooh.
7 Bitcoin. Yeah. And he basically, what he did, he was running a node and he was using Sparrow, and he'd done it before, and he was moving stuff around on his hardware wallet. For whatever reason, he was going to put some funds back on exchange or something around liquidity. And instead of using his regular desktop Sparrow software program, he was looking for a shortcut, and he downloaded a mirror fake Sparrow app on the App Store.
Ooh.
And again, what he trusted there was that, well, it's on the App Store, so it's a legit app, and it says Sparrow with a Sparrow icon. So it was the trust of brand. And then using this fake Sparrow app, he moved funds around. And when it asked for his private keys, he thought, well, it's Sparrow. You know, like it's like the 10 commandments that you posted, Robin. It's like one of the commandments. It's like you never share your private keys. You never put them online. Well, he entered his private keys, and then very quickly his 7 Bitcoin were swept. And he was like confused. Like, I used Sparrow, and he double checked on his desktop Sparrow app and his node. And sure enough, it was gone. Oh. And he realized then, like, this app wasn't legit.
That'd be sick. It was too late.
Yeah.
Oh God, that would be horrible.
That interview on Paula's show, I think it was just a week ago.
Yeah, you should link it, dude. In the chat.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's emotional. I mean, they're wrecked emotionally. Now they're recovering, and Paula does a great job of consoling them and talking them through and focusing on the future. They've got a lot of advice and support, and they're doing what they can, trying to see what they can do law enforcement or legal wise. But the reality is, like, you know, most likely, you know, it's moved and gone. But just trying to move forward from that. And I think the hardest part about it was you're in that situation and you just want to hole up. And even if you start over again, you're embarrassed, you know?
Oh yeah.
Well, they've been on podcasts sharing their story, and each one is tearful. Yeah. Because it's hard. So,
well, I'm surprised, you know, when these relationships last. Like, there was that story a couple of years back, like the wife was cleaning out a drawer and found a USB stick and was like, oh, we don't need this. And just 1.5 million in Bitcoin just in the tip, just like that. And you go, jeez. How do you come home and look at your wife and go, hey, honey, you threw away our entire life savings because you wanted to tidy the drawer that I told you to never open, you know, stuff like that. Like,
isn't the guy that was trying to get access to that landfill? It's like an ex of his, but that she threw out a bag with a hard drive in it.
Yeah.
And whoever's fault it was, but anyway, it was kind of considered maybe useless trash, but got thrown out. And he's like given up on the search now.
Yeah.
But
Well, he's been
while
battling that for
shilling
10
his
years.
shitcoin.
Of course, yeah. Like, well, you got to get your Bitcoin back somehow, right? So I don't know, but that was a $600 million mistake. Like that, I mean, that's not trivial. Like at the time, I think he's probably lost a couple million, and but with price action and the way Bitcoin moves, like it's north of $500 million just sitting in a landfill somewhere. And I'm surprised there weren't more people just like swarming that landfill, just trying to find that hard drive, just like, but
It's
he
a
went
big one.
the court route, and he went to court and fought it and fought it and fought it and fought it. And I think he finally ran out of appeals. Like, I think he just got to the highest court in the land and they're like, no, you can't go dig through the trash. It's super dangerous. And there's 10 years of trash on top of it now, dude. So just sorry. Shouldn't have thrown it out, dum-dum. But I saw another story. There was a guy who went to prison and kept his seed words in his fishing tackle, and then his landlord threw his fishing tackle out. So it's just like, oh my God, man. Like there's a million ways to die,
Wow.
Yeah. Hence, I think if you're capable of putting your stack on cold storage hardware device, you're then very close and capable of stamping it on steel, because you're going to get a piece of paper or cardboard with your hardware device. And you start thinking like, okay, now what? So hence MicroSeed, hence running a node verification. And if you've got a MicroSeed device like Travis has right there, beautifully, hold that up, Travis. Yeah, it even smells nice. It's awesome. So if you can swing a hammer and you can read a word, get your seed stamped on steel. And then you can really think base principles about physical security, taking custody. Where do you put it? And be serious about that, because you're taking the responsibility of it. And yet it's also very achievable and super easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's, that was the whole reason we made it. Right. So it's, I don't know, man. Like I love that we're talking about this because I think it's a sort of underappreciated aspect of like Bitcoin self-custody and things like that. But I hope, for those watching, like it gives you some things to think about and just go like, hey, like don't trust verify, including yourself, like,
and slow down.
Making good choices. Yeah. Slow down.
You need to slow down.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you're rushing anything in Bitcoin, you're probably involved in a scam or you're going to mess up.
Yeah. You're doing something wrong for sure. So.
Sense of urgency is a red flag.
Yeah. Always. Well, shit, guys. I mean, it's been an hour and 15. I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Good talk. Glad to have you, Travis.
Yeah,
great
Justin, it's great to see you, dude. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. And
Justin joined in.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you. And Johnny, it's always a pleasure to have you as well. Thank you for kind of coming around and sharing time with us. And huge thank you to Travis and Robin for joining us as always. Like, it's just fun to have some more voices in here. So it's not just me and Fritz sort of, being old fogies and talking silly stuff. But yeah, great discussion today, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we'll do it again next week. We'll see you then. Thanks, y'all.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye-bye.